Hello everyone, welcome back to Electronics Geek. So you are all welcome to the VLSI workshop. So for such videos, do subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so that you will never miss the video, and do follow us on Instagram for more updates. So what you are going to learn from this workshop and what will be the keynote you will be taking from this workshop. So first of all, we will see what is VLSI. Then we will go for why VLSI. Then we will go for VLSI introduction, VLSI design style, and VLSI design flow. Then we go for VLSI application and VLSI companies in India, and at last we will do one project. So stay tuned till the end. In this video, you will clear your all doubts related to VLSI, and you will get to know whether you want to go for VLSI or not, whether it's front end, back end. So if you are in third year or in second year, then this is the best video you will find in internet, and this is absolutely free of cost. Now, whatever I'm talking in this video, I'm talking from my own experience. I have a 2 year of experience in VLSI design. So let's see what is VLSI. So VLSI is a very large scale integration, the full form of VLSI. So basically, it is the combination of transistors, the billions and trillions of the transistor into the single chip that is known as the IC. Okay, if you see the definition of VLSI, so VLSI is the process of creating a integrated circuit by combining the millions of MOS transistors into the single chip. Okay, and it was began on 1970s. So I hope you all have seen the ICs. So this is the VLSI, or we can say this is the IC chip which we are going to design. And so at the end of the workshop, we will design this IC. As you can see here, this is the IC, and inside this there are thousands of billions of transistors. Okay, so now we are going for why VLSI, because why is very important. So why we are going for VLSI? If you have seen the this type of chips in your TV or in your previously electronic appliances, then you have seen the transistors, this type of BJT, MOSFETs and all. Okay, so before, what we used to do is we used to take three different BJTs and different components like BJT, capacitor, resistance, okay, in a different platform. But what we have done in the VLSI is we have just integrated that all these things into the single chip. See, this is the IC. So here there are thousands and billions of the transistor, that is BJT and MOSFET and FET. So what happened by doing this thing? We get a size. So size is less. After that, the right now you can see your smartphone has about this much small IC. Okay, inside that everything is there. So that is known as processor, that is Snapdragon maybe 845 or 856, like this. So, and what happened due to this? Due to this, the speed has increased and the power consumption is low. So we need VLSI because we need to increase the speed of the our electronic devices. You have a phone and you want to play a game, like if you talk about PUBG and all, so then you need a good processor for that. And so why you need a good processor? Because you need a speed. So for that purpose, this is the requirement of the VLSI. So we need a speed, and second thing is power. Power consumption is power consumption should be less, because if you directly integrated this thing into the single chip, then power integration will be too much high. Okay, and at last will be the size. The size of the IC should be small. Means the size should be small, like it can fit into the small devices like your mobile phone, your laptop, and many other electronic devices. That is why we need the VLSI. So as you can, integration reduce the manufacturing cost, and it is also reduce the manufacturing cost, because right now we don't have to manufacture individual VGT, FET, MOSFET. Okay, so now everything is inbuilt inside the IC. That is why we need the VLSI. I hope you understand well about why we need the VLSI and what is the VLSI. So I hope you all heard about the Moore's law. So Jordan Moss is the co-founder of Intel, and Intel, you all aware of the Intel, I hope, because most of the PCs and laptops has this processor of Intel. Like if you are using i5, i3, i7, and all. So they have given some statement that number of transistor per chip would be grow exponentially or double at every 18 months. So it will grow exponentially in every 18 months, they have given, but it is went beyond that. Now we are at the 5 nanometer. Okay, we are working on 5 nanometer, and we had a processor on 5 nanometer, but Now we are going for the 3 nanometer. So here you can see mastering the Moore's law, 404 Intel processor. We have about 2300 transistors. In Pentium we have about 3.1 million. Now if you see about the dual core, they have about 410 million transistors. Now if you see about the Core i5, see 1.3 billion transistors. Into this small chip we have about 1.3 billion transistors. See how much technology has evolved from 1971 to 2021. If we see the application of VLSI, we have about processors, that is CPU, DSP controller, our laptop, our mobile phone, our TV, video cameras, video games. Everything has an IC. So these all are the application of VLSI. So VLSI design style. So basically, we have a several design styles, and that can be considered for the chip implementation of a specific algorithm or logic function. So each design style has its own merit and shortcomings, and thus, so we have to choose which design style will be provide a functionality at low cost. So we have a, depending upon that, we have a full design style, that is the full custom design style. Then we have a application specific integrated design style, programmable logic design style, that is PLD or the FPGA, and we have a system on chip, that is the SoC. We will not go in the depth of their all the design style. We will see from the upper level because these are the very vast section. If you go inside in each of the design style section, so if you want the full video of all the design style, so you can comment it below. So let's see the first design module, that is the full custom design. So in the full custom design, each module of the system is designed by the designer itself to get the maximum control. Okay, so what it will do? So it costs the huge design effort and the low cost unit and high performance. So as you can see this picture, so everything is designed by the designer itself. So we get a maximum control so that we can reduce the size or we can increase the performance of this IC. Okay, so that is the full custom design. Next one, the application specific integrated circuit, that is AC, and also known as this semi-custom design. So basically in this design style, each of the module system is not designed by the designer itself. So we will take some other module from the another vendor and we will put on that design. If you are designing the, let's take ALU, we will take a multiplexer from another vendor and we will take a divider from the another vendor. It's just, I'm taking just an example. Okay, so like this ASIC specific design integration circuit is designed. The disadvantage of that is it has a medium performance. So here you can see, and this is the A, and in B you can see we have multiplexer, ADC, digital processing circuits. So these all things are we have brought from another vendor, so that we can conclude we can add a same single ASIC chip inside that we can put all the things together. Okay, so this is not designed by the single designer. ADC can be designed by another designer, DPC designed by another vendor. Okay, so let's see the programmable logic, and that is the FPGA. In programmable logic, FPGA, and everything is inbuilt, like all the chips are inbuilt. We don't have to build the chips, and or don't have to design the chips. What we have to do is we have to check whether the chip is working as a functionality or expectation or not. So this is the FPGA. Like if we talk about the adder, what should be the adder should give A and B. So if A and B we are getting, so we should get sum and carry. Okay, so this adder programmed into the computer with the help of Verilog coding or VHDL coding. And with the help of that, we will design the adder. So we will burn this program into the IC so that we will get to know whatever the designer has designed, it is working correctly as per the functionality or the specification. So we will get to know through the FPGA board. So everything is inbuilt in the FPGA board, so you don't have to design anything. You just have to burn the code and you have to check whether it is working as per your expectation or not. So this is the work of the programmable logic. And the last one is the system on chip, that is the SoC. SoC is the combination of all the chips into the single integration IC. Like you have a RAM, ROM, and IPs, or the DSP, everything into the single chip, that is known as the SoC. Like mobile processor is SoC because everything is inbuilt. Because you will notice that there will be no RAM, there will be no ROM, because everything is into the single chip. Like chip of AMD, that is Snapdragon. Inside that everything is there, like RAM, ROM, and your ADC, DAC, everything is in that. So that is known as the system on chip. Okay, here you can see this is the diagram of the system on chip. Like everything is there: memory array, CPU, DSP. Okay, these are the input and output signals. So now let's come into the very important part, that is the VLSI industry. In VLSI industry, you have to work two different domains, that is the front end and that is the back end. So you have to choose wisely whether you want to go for front end or you want to go for back end. Depending upon your interest, you have to choose your field wisely. Okay, I will talk about both the domains, so don't worry about that. You will get to know many things in this video. So if you like my work, then please like the video and share the video and subscribe so that I will get to know, okay, people are liking my work, and I will make more and more videos on these domains so that I can guide you more properly. Okay, so let's start. Will I say design flow? Basically, design flow tells about the journey of the IC, how the imaginary IC is converted into the real world IC. So this is what design flow tells us. So we will see from front to the back end. So stay tuned. To manufacture any IC, we have to know about the specification. That is specification. Then we go for the architecture design, RTL design, RTL verification, synthesis, DFT, and floor planning. Yeah, so these all things till DFT it comes onto the front end. Okay, and floor plan, placement, CTS, routing, sign off, fabrication, packaging, and testing. This comes under the back end. So if you want to go for the front end engine, you have to only think about this all the design flow, and if you want to go for back end, you have to think about floor planning, placement, CTS, routing, sign off, till there, till there. Okay. So in front end, we have four different domains. That is the design, that is the verification, then DFT, FPGA. So design engineer will design the IC, and verification engineer will verify that IC it is working as per the specification or not. After that, DFT engineer will verify internal circuits of the design. Okay, and after that, it will get back to the FPGA engineer. It will burn the code, and we will check whether the design is working as per the specification or not. So let's first see the specification and architecture. So the specification is the need of the customer. What is the requirement and what is the need of that customer. Depending upon that, we will specify, design the IC. So in the architecture, we will define the layout of the structure of the IC, how it should be, like a blueprint. Okay, whether how many adder will be there, how many multiplexer will be there. Like this, we will define the structure of the IC. So the next one is the RTL design. So RTL design is basically the register transfer level. This is the design instruction which we use to design the ICs. So in RTL designing, so we use VHDL and Verilog coding style to go to design the circuit or to design the IC. So like this, you can see here we code like this. This is just an example. So here you can see this is the simulation after simulating the design code. This is the design code. This is just an example I've taken. Here you can find a multiplexer, divider, whichever the design you have made. Depending upon that, you can easily see the like if you are designing the header, then we will see like this in the stimulation. In the stimulation, we will see like this: A, B, sum, and carry. So like this, we will see in the stimulus, in the stimulation, if we design the adder. Okay, so now the time coming is verification. So verification, in the verification we will ensure that the logic is correct or not without major timing error. Okay, and we will verify through the logic by giving input 0 and 1. So basically, if you see this adder, we have designed this adder. Now verification engine will verify whether it is working as per the functionality or not. If you are giving here 0 0, then it should come, sum should be 0 and carry should be 0. So like this we will give the input 0 and 1 and 1 0 like this, so that we will get the output or not we will see in the with the help of the waveforms. So these are the waveforms you can see. We just take an example like this is the one high and this is the low, this is this upper one, this is the low and this lower one is high and this lower one is low. Okay, so this is low, this is low, like this we go through the waveforms so that we get to know. Like if we talk about the half adder, then if we give a, let's take this is a, so a is high and b is low, that is sum s, that is the output. If you are giving 1 and 0, so it should be get sum should be 1 and carry should be 0. Okay, so like this we have to verify through these signals, like this signal a is high and this is low and s should be high and c should be 0. Now we can verify that whatever the input we are giving, that is correct. So if you are giving a, b, let's take a is 0 and b is also 0, but in the sum we are getting 1. Okay, so means there is some error in the logic. So now what you will do is you will send back to this design code to the design engineer and you will report that there is a some this is there is a some error in the code. So the design engineer will correct it and it will send back to you to verify the code. So after that, after verifying and after designing, we go for the synthesis. So what is synthesis? Basically, synthesis is whatever the RTL coding we have done, we will convert that into the netlist. That is the gate level. So that is the work of the synthesis. After converting this thing, it will go for the DFT, that is the design for testability. So DFT engineer will verify whether whatever the netlist we have got or the gate level we got, whether the connections are okay or not. Maybe when we are converting this thing, that RTL code into the netlist, then maybe there will be some mismatch in the connection. So we will verify through the DFT by giving randomly 0 and 1 at the input and at the output of the gate. Okay, so here we complete the work of the front end. Now we are going for the back end, that is the floor plan. Now floor plan and placement. Basically in floor planning, we will do how should be the shape and what should be the size of the module and the chip, the area and how should be delay and everything we will do in the floor plan. Like if we talk about the mobile, then we will see whether we have to put the IC, where we have to put the ROM, the RAM, everything. So that is the floor plan. That is the placement. Placement is we have to assign the pre-designed chip on the overlay, like here you can see. So here this is the die and this is the core. So inside that we have given some macros, that is the modules. These are the modules, like it can be the multiplexer, divider, anything. Okay, so that is the placement. Here we have planning, like is the blueprint, we will just plan. Okay, here we will put these all things. Then in placement is we will put everything into that particular places, on the particular places, so that we can optimize the functionality. And here you can see this is the sample of placement. Here you can see, so we have the different design rules, like what should be the threshold voltage and how should be the depth and all. So depending upon that, if we want on the calculation, we all plan and place the modules. Now it will come to the clock tree synthesis. What it will do is it will insert some of the buffer and inverter along with the clock path in the design, so that it can balance the clock delay into the all inputs. So in order to balance the SQ and minimum insertion delay. So we talk in a simple way, like you can check in your desktop or a laptop, will be a clocking speed written in properties, like 2.5 gigahertz or 4.5 gigahertz. What is that? That will help you to use your laptop more fastly. Like you can open as many as softwares or application at the same time. You can switch the windows. You can switch the tabs. So this all helps in the clocking speed. So that's why the clocking speed is very important. So now it comes to the routing. So routing is basically we have a two different type of routing. It is the global routing and the detailed routing. So basically, a global routing is the estimation that okay, we will connect this module with this module, like this header with this multiplexer, or this multiplexer with this module. So like this is the global routing. But so basically, detailed routing is the actual routing, so that we can manufacture that particular IC. So we will connect this module with the this module with the help of the detailed routing. Okay, so now here you can see this how we have done the routing. This is the JK flip flop, and this module with this module, how we have connected this module to this modules, how we connected these all things through the routing and all. After that, we go for the sign off. That sign off is the basically the we check the whether the layout work as per the design specification or not, or whether we are following the design rule or not to design the IC. At last, we will verify the layout satisfying the design rule. At last, we have to verify whether whatever the IC, the functionality of the IC, it is working as per the specification or not. Okay, so that is the work in this sign off. After we get to know okay everything is correct and onto the track, then we will go for the fabrication. So on the fabrication, we have a different process, that is the mask. And first we go for the mask, then we go for wafer, then we will proceed, then we go for processing, then we proceed the wafer. At last we get the chips. Okay, that is the ICs. So this is the wafer. Okay, there are billions of the transistors are there. So at last, after that, after we got the chip, we go for the packaging and testing. Before chip, means after manufacturing also, we have to verify whether the chip is working as or not. Machine, this is the ATPG machine. So here we put the IC, and we will check in the computer inside this, like here you can see. So here we will check each and every module whether they are connected properly, everything is correct or not. Okay, like this we will see. This is how the IC looks like after manufacturing. So at last you get the chip. This is the processor, and this is some of the ICs. Okay, so we have completed our design flow. This is how design flow works for the front end and for the back end. So these are some of the early processors, like you can see Intel 404. This is the length. Length means the breadth of the MOSFET. So see how it's look like, and MOS technology. Okay, this is the Pentium processor. Everything is inbuilt. This is the Pentium 4, and here you can see how many transistors are there. You can't see this in with your bare eyes. Okay, and this is the graphic processor which you used, like NVIDIA and all, to play the games, video games, and videos and all. So that is all about the VLSI. We have seen what is VLSI, we have seen why VLSI, and we have seen the introduction, design style, design flow, and the application. Okay, everything we have seen. We will see the VLSI companies at last. Okay, and after that we will go for one project. So before going for the VLSI company, so let's see how we design our ICs. We use the language that is known as hardware description language. That here you can see we have a different type of the SDL language. That is, first one is the VSDL, then we have the Verilog, then we have a system Verilog. So system Verilog is the advanced version of Verilog, and VSDL is the very high speed integration circuit hardware description language. So basically in India we don't use VSDL, and out of India people use VSDL to design the IC, but in India we use Verilog and system Verilog coding style to design the ICs. So what is the difference between VSDL and Verilog? So VSDL is the not a case sensitive. So even if you write a in the capital letter or small letter, it will not throw an error. But in case of Verilog, it is a case sensitive. So if you write a in the capital letter, then it will throw an error. Okay, and it is the based on Pascal, and it is based on the C. If you know C very well, then Verilog is very easy for you guys. So in my previous video also, I've always encouraged you to learn C and C++ because these are the most important languages for any for you want to go for the software field. Then also you have to learn C and C++, and if you want to go for hardware field, then also you want to learn C and C++, and if you want to go for the embedded, then also you have to learn C and C++. So so now let's see the software for the front end. So front end we use ISE simulator from Xilinx, and Model Sim and Costa Sim from Mentor Graphics, and Costa Sim simulator from Ultra. So software for backend we use the tool of Synopsys, Cadence, Mentor Graphics, and Xilinx. Okay, these are the top vendors. They make the tools for backend and front end. So let's see what are the steps required to be a front end engineer. So the first thing is you have to focus on digital electronics, and this is very important for both front end and back end, and mostly combinations and sequential circuits. So these are two important you have to focus on. And after that, command of the programming, that is whether it's C or C++. I would just go for both. If you have the time, then go for C++ also, so that you can easily learn Verilog and system Verilog. Okay, so after that, after completing C and C++, getting a command in C and C++, you should go for the Verilog, System Verilog, UVM, and DFT. So Verilog lectures you can find in NPTEL. I've created a playlist for Verilog of NPTEL. So from there directly you can get the playlist of the all the Verilog lectures of NPTELs. And after getting command into the Verilog, System Verilog, then go for some project. Some projects are IEEE projects are there. So just search on IEEE website. You will find many projects in for VLSI domain, like for the front end and back end. Okay, so these are the things you have to consider to be a front end engineer. And then so after going through all, then you have to search for a job. So you can search for a job in LinkedIn, Naukri.com, and many other websites. So yeah, basically if you are going for the AC verification engineer, then you can contact me. I will try my best to help you out and to get you placed in the AC verification and design. So you can contact me through the Instagram, that is Electroniski. So I will help you out in the field of the AC verification especially. Okay, so let's see the steps required for the backend engineer. So for the backend, you have to focus on digital electronics as well as the analog electronics. Here analog electronics is most important than digital electronics, because you have to learn CMOS, MOSFET, BJTs, and all the basics of semiconductors. So these are the very important for the backend engineers. And then after that you have to command on the CMOS. Okay, CMOS you have to command in breadth, what is the depth of the CMOS, how you calculate the depletion layer, how you calculate the threshold voltage. These all things you have to learn. You have to command in CMOS, and after that go for the layout structure and all. Okay, and then you have to go for the EDA tool. You have to design CMOS and MOS, PMOS. Like this, you should create some projects on the EDA tool. So EDA tools are available freely online. That is EDA tool, EDA background. I think that is the online software, online tool. From there directly you can directly log into the EDA tool website, and after that you have to make some good projects so that you can get into the industries. Okay, and the same way you have to apply for the industries, LinkedIn, through HR, through your referrals and all. Okay, so these are the steps you have to follow for the front end and back end. Now let's see the VLSI companies in India. So we have a different companies in India, from top MNC level to the new startups. So these are some of the top MNCs: Intel, Synopsys, Xilinx, SanDisk, Cadence, Microchip, and there are some of the service-based companies like Wipro, IBM. They also hire for the VLSI engineers, so you can get into these all the industries. So there are many other more companies which you can get. So these are some of the small companies you can easily get into the field. So that's it. And if you need any help, you can comment it below, or you can message me on Telegram or Instagram. So even you can join our Telegram group for future updates. So now let's see the one project. We will go one mini project, and after that we will wrap up this session. For the front end and back end, I have two software. For front end, I use Model Sim, and this is the easily available. I have made one video how you can download, and from you can download these softwares. You can watch that video. You can download free of cost. Okay, and so for the backend we have MSpice, and for the front end we have the model sync. We will see our one project. We will do our project in model sync, basically in front end. So when you enter into the model sync, then you see this. Click on the start and create a new project. So I will give a project to the header. So I'm giving, you can give any name, like just I'm giving a sample name header. So I will click OK. So now just click on the create a new file or add an existing file. Right now we are not creating a new file because I have already done a coding, because it's very vast. So you are very new to the Verilog coding, so I would not explain everything right now. So I'm adding the existing file so that you will get to know how actually we design. So I have added the design file, that is half header we are going to design, and now I'm adding the half header verification file. Okay, now I'm just closing this. Now you can see we have added a two file, that is halfheader.v and halfheader.tv.v. This is the design file and this is the verification file. So I've just added the, I've already coded. So if you will click in the half header, you will see this is the code we have already done before, and this is the verification module. This we have already coded before. Why I am not writing the code right now? Because some of you are not familiar with the Verilog program. So I have to go from the very basic to the advanced so that you can easily understand. So right now we are running out of time, so I'm not going to explain each and every module, but yeah, whatever I have written in this code I will explain. And yeah, if you know Verilog coding, then it is very easy for you guys. And if you want a Verilog programming from the basic to the advanced, so you can comment it below. I will make a series of Verilog lectures, so you can comment it down below. So right now, if you see, we have written in the design file, that is module. Module is the syntax. Whenever you have to design, you have to write module. And I've given name, that is a half header. You can give any name. And I have given the inputs like A and B. A is the input and B is the input. And output are sum and carry. So I've defined everything in the module part. Okay, whenever you define the module, and you have to end the module, and inside the module you have to write the functionality of that particular circuit. So right now we are designing the half header, so I have given the input A and input B. So because A and B are the input, I have to define that, and after that I have defined that output are sum and carry, and I have ended through the semicolons. Okay, now I'm assigning sum A XOR B and carry A XOR B. So let me explain you what I am doing there is, let's see, this is the half header. Okay, so half header we have A and B, and we have a sum and we have a carry. So inside half header, so half header gives us the sum, gives us A XOR B. The sum gives us A XOR B, and the carry gives us A and B. Okay, I hope you all know about the half header. So we get the output sum A XOR B, and carries A and B. So we have assigned this thing as a sum, assigned sum we have given A XOR B. Okay, so this A XOR B we have defined there, and assign we have defined carry A and B. So carries A and B. So we have assigned everything. Okay, this is how our design is functioning, like sum and carry, and how it should be look like, we will see. And after that, this is the verification file. Now we have designed the module. Now we have to give the input so that we can compare the output, because we know the output, how the output should look like. Output should be sum and output should be carry. So sum should be A XOR B and carry should be A and B. So but now we will give the input and get to know that whether we are getting the exact output as per the specification or not. Okay, so we have given, again here we have assigned with the module, and here we have entered the module. So now we have given a file name and we have the semicolon. Okay, and after that we have written reg, that is the register A and B, and wire, and sum and carry. Okay, so in the verification file we use reg and wire. We will study this in the depth in the coming series, so stay tuned for that. And then I have assigned the integer, that is I. and after that I have initiating the half adder. Initiating means I have connected this file, this TB file or this verification file to the this design file. So that's why whatever you have written here, this in the module file, you have to write the same thing here in the instantiating file, so that both can connect each other. Okay, so that's why I have instantiated to the design files A, B, and sum and carry. Okay, this is the syntax how we instantiating. And after that we have given the initial and begin. Whenever you have to give the input and output, you have to write this initial, and inside the initial you have to write begin and end. Okay, inside the begin and end you have to give the inputs, like I have given A and B. Input is I have given 0 and 0. Okay, and after indent. After that I have opened another initial block, and inside that I have given a begin. For different logic you have to write different initial block. Okay, so and after that I have given begin for I equals to 0, I is less than 4, I equals to I plus plus, because we need 2 to the power 2, so total 4 combination will be there. So that's why we have given a I equals to 4, I is less than 4. So it will go from 0, 1, 2, and 3, like 0 0. So it will go from 0 0, 0 1, 1 0, and 1 1. This thing we have to identify, or this is the input we have to give. So this is the input we have to give. This is A and this is B. That's why we have defined I equals to less than 4. Okay, so now I have given begin A comma B equals to I. So A comma B is A is 0, B is 0. We have given into the closing bracket, so that both can be concatenated. And I is equals to I. So I here I will be changed every time, because it is the for loop, and it will continue till the I is less than 4. So as 10 is the delay, it will wait for 10 seconds, and after that it will go again and again, repeat the same thing. And after that I have indented all the modules. Then I have given initial again, because I am writing another function. So initial and dollar monitor is basically to print the this sum and carry, like it is a, if you know about C and C++, we used to write a printf, and in C++ we write C out and C in. So dollar monitor is the same way we use here. So dollar monitor input A is equals to star B. B is the byte. Dollar monitor input A is asterisk B. B is equals to A asterisk B. Output is equals to sum is equals to B asterisk B. And after that we have given, like we used to do in the C language, it's the same way we have to print here. Okay, and the print will be visible here. And after that I have given the 100 delay, and after that I have dollar finish. After 100 delay it will terminate the program. I hope you understand this program, and because this is just a simple program I am telling you, because you all are not aware of the programming languages. Okay, so now compile this. Okay, I will click on the compile all. Now you can see, when I click on the compile all, you can see the right tick. It is in blue. Okay, if you write something wrong, then it will show an error. So here you can see compile of the half adder was successful. It is both are successful. Okay, I just missed the semicolon. I will just delete the semicolon, and I will save this file. And now if I will compile right now, then it will show an error. See, you can see compile half adder.tb.fail with an one error. Okay, here you can see the question mark. So this way you can identify what is the error with your code. Okay, so let's undo this. Now I will compile again. Now you can see everything is successful. Now I will simulate this. Just start simulation. Now what you have to do is just click on the work, and click on the half adder TB. You will see these files when you will do all the coding and all. When you will save, it will automatically direct to the work. Then click OK. Okay, now you can see the VI simulation. Everything is loaded. Now what you have to do is, now just click on select. Now add to the waveform or region. Okay, so this is the waveform where you will see. Now what you have to do is just click on run. When you click on the run, Now you can see we got the waveforms. Let me zoom for you guys. From this waveform you can easily verify whether the code you have written is working or not, whether the design functionality is working or not. Right now if you see A is 0, from here you can see A is 0, P is 0, because both are in downline, 0 0 low low, and the sum is 0 and the carry is also 0. Okay, so the function of this one is we have committed verified, that is it is 0. Now we will verify 0 and 1. So for 0 and 1, sum and carry, so sum should be 1 and carry should be 0. Now we will verify whether it is correct or not. This one, if you will go A equals to 0, B equals to 1, A equals to 0, B is equals to 1, so we are getting sum is equals to 1. You can see sum is equals to 1 and carry is equals to 0. So we have verified that second one is also correct. Now we will go for the third. So this is in continuation. Okay, I loop. So I loop for I is equals to 0, this happened, and I equals to 1, this happened, and now I equals to 2. For 2 this is happening. For I equals to 2, it went to the 1, A will be 1 and B will be 0, and the sum will be 1 and the carry will be 0. Okay, so now you can see we have already verified this also, that sum is equals to 1 and carry equals to 0. Now you will see this one, last one, this is 1 1, A equals to 1, B equals to 1, then it will become sum will become 0 and carry will become 1. Now we have to verify whether it is correct or not. So here you can see the half adder A is 1, B is equals to 1, and the sum is equals to 0 and carry is equals to 1. So hence we have verified that all the outputs are correct and the design is correct. So here you can see the value of 0 1 2 3 4. What is this? This is the value of I, which we have implemented in the this thing here, I 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, after that it got terminated, and here you can see at last 100 second delay we have given here at last. After that it is not showing any signals, because after that the program got terminated. With what I talked about the dollar monitor, so here you can see the input, whatever the input we have given, A equals to 0, B equals to 0, output sum and carry, here you can easily verify from here also. Okay, you have to see both the things output this waveform, because both are the very important. So hence we can see that we have verified each and every module. Here you can see the data flow, how the data is flowing. Okay, so this is what we have seen this project, and this is the simple project. And in the coming weeks or in the coming month we will see the full series of the Verilog, and we will go for another system Verilog and all. Okay, so I hope you guys get to know something new today. And yeah, so this is the front end we are talking about. So this is the backend software. Okay, and we can use mSpice, and the software basically. So here you can see these are some of the tools which you have to use, and you have to know about these all things. And like you can see the width of the MOS, CMOS and all, and here are many things. So this tool is basically, here you don't require the coding and all, and this is the tool. So here you can see this is how it will look like. This is the MOS and all, and these are the some of this is how we are routing. And here you can see the depth and width you have to define, the threshold you have to define. This is a very vast. Here you don't require the coding, you have to use these tools, you have to remember which tool is required. Okay, so these are the tools which is used for the backend. So yeah, if you want a video on the backend also, so you can comment it below. I will make the videos on backend also. So I hope from these workshops you have learned so many things. Yeah, and if you learn something new today, so do comment it below. Let me know how many of you got to learn something today, so that I will get a motivation to organize more and more workshops. So I hope you learn many things and you will implement this thing, and you will finalize in which field you want to go, whether it's back end or front end. So in the coming weeks we will be organizing more and more workshops. So do participate on those workshops. And if you had any questions, you can comment it below, or you can message me on Instagram. And do share this video with your friends who want to join the VLSI industry. So that's it for this workshop, guys. I hope to see you again in the another workshop. So stay tuned for that, and stay safe and take care.